Right. Now, as long as there have been books in the world, there have been readers whose lives have been changed by inspirational authors. We're about to meet a man whose collection is a tribute to his favourite writer, Somerset Maugham.
My motivation to collect Maugham goes right back to the time in 1976 when I picked up my first Somerset Maugham paperback, and I was hooked. It's not a cliche in my case to say that Somerset Maugham changed my life. So later on in life, when I had become financially comfortable and got bored with normal investing, I suddenly thought, I wonder if I could invest in buying Somerset Maugham books and Somerset Maugham material. It's not like collecting, say, Beano comics, because I liked Beano when I was a child. Maugham, as well as the collection, means something to me personally. The first book that I ever got, the joy of opening that book, I mean, I went through a mammoth leap to pay $3,500, and I thought, I'll only ever buy one. I could never possibly do anything more than just that one book. But when I got the book and I opened it and I saw Maugham's signature, and when I saw the letters that came with that book, I was hooked, and I just had to keep going. I became addicted to it. And I don't mind I'd rather be addicted to Somerset Maugham than cigarettes or cocaine. This is a handwritten manuscript, and here he is writing a story, and you can see this in red are the corrections he made on the back. And you look at the actual copy of the story, the way it came out. And he writes here, she smiled at her own silliness. And then you see the words here, she smiled at her own silliness. So what I actually see is the handwriting becoming the short story itself, which comes from a book or a magazine. So you get to read the story almost twice, the way he first thought about it and the way it finally came out. Somerset Maugham used to have a very quiet little spot where he would go to write, somewhere where he couldn't be disturbed. I have something similar. And this is where I come to write, and I've got Somerset Maugham on the wall there, looking over my shoulder, giving me some inspiration. It's not just about collecting Maugham books, it's about understanding Maugham, the author himself. And these are a number of his letters and correspondence that he wrote over a 75-year period of writing. And these are manuscripts, notes, jottings that he made. There's even a copy of his will in here. I have said to myself at times, I'd rather buy a Somerset Maugham item, a book or a manuscript, than I would buy a house. I've never had to sell a house to buy something, but if the right piece came along, if the manuscript of, say, The Moon and Sixpence came up for sale, I don't know if I'd be prepared to go homeless to have it, but maybe. To have shares in a mining company, or to have a manuscript by Somerset Maugham, how could you possibly want shares? You can't touch shares. I can touch this. I can touch documents where Somerset Maugham has been and written. Somerset Maugham changed my life in that he gave me wisdom. He gave me the ability to be able to handle life. All of us in life go through times where we think, I can't cope anymore. But as a result of Maugham, I've learned things that have enabled me to cope. Maugham has been my psychotherapist, if you like. He's been there for me. Read a Somerset Maugham short story and watch what happens to your life.
It's an amazing collection, and most of us will never have a chance to sit in such an impressive library like that. How does it feel sitting there amongst your collection?
It's just beautiful to be in, yeah.
Now, you've said that there's a few biographies that have been put out about Somerset Maugham, but they haven't really captured who he was. What have they missed?
Well, nobody's really got into the essence of the man himself and understood the psychology of him, what motivated him. Well, now Lady Selina Hastings, who's Evelyn Waugh's biographer, is writing about Maugham.
You have, I understand, the largest and most comprehensive collection of Maugham material, and through your collection, Lady Hastings has had access to Maugham that no one else will have had.
Exactly, yes, that's right. What she said was so special about what I had was I didn't just have his books and papers, I had everything related to everybody else about him. Earlier somebody was asking me about Noel Coward. Well, I could immediately say, yes, he met with Coward on this day. My collection has led off in all these different directions, and that's what Lady Selina liked so much about it.
What is it precisely about his writing that we should value so much?
He seems to have the ability to be able to connect with almost anybody. He wrote stories about the emotions of life, he wrote stories about feelings, he wrote stories about jealousy, passions.
This is a first edition in the front of the table here. Once you've got the book, you've purchased it, and it arrives at your house, what does it feel like? Are you nervous when you open the package?
I don't know if you're nervous, you're excited. And you also think, where has this book been? It has been through 2 world wars. It has survived the Blitz. Who has had it? Who else's hands has it travelled through? And you'll see some of these have been through, say, Harpo Marx's hands.
You say you weren't interested in oil shares and this, like, and I'm a great fan of that belief that you should invest in things that are tactile and that you love. What point are you going to stop?
I sort of feel I've almost got it now. Financially, it can be a very expensive hobby, and I don't have the funds that I used to have.
But rare books are supposed to be an excellent investment.
Yes, but only if you sell them.
That's true.
That's the key.
Only if you sell them.
Yeah. For me to sell one of the Maugham books, I think we would have had to have run out of food completely.
Yes. Thank you very much for sharing your passion with us, and I'm sure it's inspired a lot of people around the country. You may have a lot more competition for collecting Maugham now.
Fine.
Now